Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Hi, everybody. So nice to see you today. Even if I can't see your faces, I can see your names coming through. On behalf of Vivvi, I'm so happy to welcome you today. I'm Rachel Duda, the Vice President of Learning at Vivvi, and I'm so excited to talk with Jen Gillette today about one of the hottest topics for so many parents of young children, toilet transitions. Whether you're in the throes of potty training now, and I know summer's always a popular time for parents to get started, or you're wondering what you should know to get started or how to cope with post potty training struggles, this webinar is going to dig into the full spectrum of the potty training experience and all the toilet transitions that happen along the way. Today, we're so lucky to be joined by Jennifer Gillette, Chief of Child Development and Parent Teacher Education at Clay and founding director of The Loved Child in Boston. Jen's joined our community before and for other potty training and general parenting webinars. And her advice is always invaluable. So thanks for joining us today. And together, we're going to do our best to address some of your pressing questions and help you and your child on your potty training journey. I have 4 kids. I've gone through this myself, so I understand how exciting and stressful it can be all together. If you're not already familiar with Vivvi, I'm just going to give a quick overview of what we do. We are on a mission to reinvent childcare and early learning for today's families. We currently have 6 campuses in New York and 1 new campus opens very soon in Westchester. And they specialize in learning and care for children ages 6 weeks to 5 years. We also partner with employers of all sizes to bring childcare and early learning to their working parents as a benefit. And we truly believe it's our mission to support the whole family, not just with high quality care and learning, but also with education and resources for those early years, which is why we're having this conversation today. Before we get started, just a few program logistics, and then we'll dive right in. Again, I just want to say how appreciative I am that so many of you are here with us today. I know that you have so many things on your plate, and we're so grateful that you could carve out some time to join us. So thank you. We have about 45 minutes together, and we'll use the first 30 minutes to run through some really thoughtful strategies and tips with Jen, and then we'll go through some of your questions. We had a lot of questions come through, but we're also looking forward to asking or to hearing some of your questions through the chat. It's open, the chat function is open, so feel free to drop in a question anytime during the webinar, and we'll do our best to get to as much as we can in the time that we have. I also want to thank our partner, Healthy Baby, for being a partner on this webinar. Healthy Baby makes the first and only ever EWG verified diaper, along with wipes, skincare, and other safe baby products. And they're generously offering a discount to all of our attendees today, which we'll email you after this webinar. Okay, so with that, let's dig in. Jen, I'd love for you to jump into your slides and give everyone an overview of what they can expect from our conversation today, and then share a little bit about what we mean when we talk about toilet transitions.
Will do. It's so great to be here. Thank you, Rachel, for the very kind and warm welcome. I've got to begin here. Like you, I am walking the parenting talk. I am a lucky mom of these 3 handsome boys, now 18, 20, and 20. And just so everybody knows, they are all using the bathroom independently, okay? So I do need to say, though, the process was very different for each one of them. So professionally, I'm a graduate level trained child development, behavior, and parenting expert. That's quite a mouthful. I've spent the last 25 years here in the Boston area and now really across the world virtually, supporting parents and educators who care for babies and young children. As Rachel shared, I'm currently the Chief of Child Development and Behavior at Clay, which is just an incredible platform. using technology to support both parents and early childhood professionals. My professional journey has included a variety of organizations and businesses, all focused on supporting parents and educators. I began working in early intervention in the classroom, also in the home setting, supporting families with babies and toddlers and preschoolers needing some extra developmental and behavioral support. I worked in pediatrics for years alongside with pediatricians to support parents and caregivers around child development and behavior. And then I started about 10 years ago my own private practice called The Loved Child. Folks just call it TLC here in Boston. And we are a consortium of perinatal and early childhood professionals. We provide one-on-one and group support in the workplace, so to support parent employees. So I just have to say, Rachel, before I dive into my slide deck, friends and family continuously ask me, Jennifer, why do you like talking to parents about poop and pee? And of course, this is one of many topics, but I really like this topic. I could have it on my resume, Potty Queen. Why? I just think it's a great time to enter the lives of parents and educators. Really, maybe in the first moment on their journey where they recognize how autonomous their little one has become. Meaning, code word, how little control we have as adults in their lives. I also think the things that I'm going to be talking today about are not just about toilet training. So for example, the power of catching good behaviors, so positive reinforcement, or the power of working with our little ones during moments of connection, right? During play, looking at picture books. That's the secret sauce. That's when we can really move forward around these big transitions. So going forward, we've got a busy next 30 minutes, and I promised Rachel that I would stick with the time. What I'd love, and if it's okay with you, Rachel, I'd love folks in the chat function to share with us where they are on this journey. So there's 4 groups. Let us know which group you're in. So the first group, you haven't even thought about toilet training, toilet teaching. That's the first group. The second group, you haven't formally begun, but you're starting to think about it. Okay, that's the second group. The third group, you've begun, and you're just here for affirmation. And then the fourth group, you've begun and help. So you are in the right place no matter where you are on this journey. This is not something, it's not, okay, today we are going to start toilet teaching. This begins in the first, really, weeks and months of life. My objective today is to introduce a very simple and effective developmental, child-led approach to support independent toilet use in young children. I see each one of you guys walking around with your toolbox, and my job today is to put a couple practical strategies and tools in that toolbox that you can immediately use, okay? Some of this information you're going to be familiar with, and that is okay. Just like young children, we too benefit from repetition. I also find it very validating to hear from an expert, oh my gosh, wait, I'm already doing that. It makes you feel good, right? I also would like to say it's really important in this process as an educator, as a parent, caregiver, that we are careful with the language that we're using around toilet teaching. So use whatever language you want to use, pee, tinkle, BMs, But you know what's important, and Rachel, you know this well as a mom and as an educator, is to stay consistent with that language. Let's set our kids up for success. Not my area of expertise, but I also recommend labeling all private parts, body parts, with the correct terminology. And maybe, well, as important, I strongly recommend staying away from negative language. What do I mean about that? You are changing your little one's poopy diaper, and whoa, there is a strong scent coming your way. Hey, as that book title, Everyone Poops. No need to shame your child around something that's natural. So please, let's use positive language. The other thing I quickly want to say is there are so many toilet teaching approaches out there. I used to, before these workshops, go on Amazon and count, see how many books. The last time I did that, there was over 10,000 books on toilet teaching. What does that tell us as parents and as educators? There's not one way to do this, right? It depends on your child's unique temperament style. That being said, I'm not going to be talking today about elimination communication or natural infant hygiene, the infant potty training method. I'm also going to stay away, as a developmentalist, I'm going to stay away from that 1 or 2 day approach. Yes, it can work for some children, but for some other kids, it can be very, very stressful. And then the last thing I want to say is we're going to be focusing today on daytime independent toilet use. Why? Because we're not even developmentally expecting these little ones to be nighttime dry until, between the ages of 4 to 5. Now, that doesn't mean that that's going to be the case with your little one, but just developmentally, we're focusing on daytime use. All right, quick facts I'm going to go through. It's going to take, and this is quite a range of time, and we know this, Rachel, with her 4 and with my 3, it's going to take anywhere between 3 to 12 months for your child to use the toilet independently during daylight hours. Studies have shown in the United States, the average age for toilet training is between 2 and 4, okay? We know that these little ones, I'm going to go right on to peeing and pooping here, urinate about 4 to 8 times a day. So about every 2 hours, that's going to be important when I talk about the potty bell technique. I want you to know how much their little bladders can hold, because guess what? If you're going to be doing this in earnest, you want to fill up that bladder. So our little ones' bladders can hold about 1 to 1.5 ounces of urine per year of life. So a 2-year-old, for example, can hold about 2 to 2.5 ounces. So think about a bottle, how much that is. Let's fill up those bladders so they have that sensation. Pooping, we all know everybody is very different in this way, although I bring this up because we know that 30% of kids, that's a lot, between the ages of 2 to 10 are chronically constipated. I read somewhere recently that 3 to 5% of doctors' visits are due to constipation. So one of the things I like to bring up, this is a good time to make sure that we are offering foods that are going to help our children be regular. The other big stat that I always share repeatedly is 80% of children experience setbacks. Let me just say that again. 8 out of 10 kids experience setbacks. So it's a part of the process, okay? About 98% of children are completely daytime dry by the age of 4. Okay. And then we see, Rachel, about, gosh, most children will be nighttime dry within 6 months of daytime dryness. All right. That was a lot. You know what I'd love to also share with you guys, because it's a question that we get a lot in this line of work. Is there a difference between girls and boys? This is a social science. The research is really mixed, okay? So the message I'd like to send to our audience today is, well, maybe there's a slight difference. Like we're talking girls maybe 2 months before boys, but really there isn't that big of a difference between girls and boys. The difference between girls and boys is nighttime wetting. Boys are twice as prevalent as girls to have nighttime wetting. Interesting fact, huh? Okay. So hopefully you've had the time to complete the quiz that was sent out in advance of today's webinar. If you didn't, no worries. I know that everybody that's here right now and everybody listening to the recording in the future will have the quiz, very quick and dirty quiz just to look at developmental milestones. But what I'd like to do is just walk through really quickly and through each area. And I want to start with physiological readiness. So we know that babies up to about 18 months are not yet able to control the sphincter muscles. Those are the muscles that keep the bladder and the rectum closed. So that stomach fills, fluids pass into the bladder, the muscles relax, and urination or bowel movement occur. As a developmentalist, I'm going to strongly recommend that you delay toilet teaching in earnest until this process has become voluntary. Well, how do you know that the process has become voluntary, that your little one has control over those sphincter muscles? Well, just like in Rachel's newsletter that came out, I think it was yesterday, the potty dance, that's a really good cue, right? That look on the face. Gosh, one of my boys would turn bright red, squatting, grunting, tugging at the diaper, hiding behind the sofa, okay? These behaviors communication. All right, physical readiness. Can your little one walk backwards? Well, why is that important? Guys, think about yourself as you're getting ready to go to the bathroom and you're moving to that toilet, you're walking backwards. All right. I want to see these little ones have some independence around pulling down and up clothing. Let's set them up for success. Let's put them in clothing, no zippers and buttons and ties, and oh, tights are so hard. Summer, I love it. The skirts, the dresses, the birthday suits, elastic waists, okay? Cognitive readiness. Your child must be able to coordinate a complex combination of both physical and cognitive tasks. So your little one has to recognize body parts and understand all those functions. Make the association between the physical sensation of peeing and pooping with elimination. So this is cause and effect. This little one has to picture in their mind, I want to go pee and I need to get over to that potty over there. How am I going to get over there? So that problem solving, memorizing a series of tasks. Okay, I feel it coming. I got to hold it. I need to get over to the right place. I need to get my clothes off. I need to sit down and then relax and go. And this is when I make the joke, I'm proud of myself that I can pull this all off, right? This is a lot for these little people. And I haven't even mentioned self-regulation, okay, or concentration. Then emotional readiness. This is probably the most complex area of readiness for parents. is there a desire for self-mastery? Do you hear your little one, me can do it, right? Or a little one acting like a big kid? Or on the other hand, do you see your little one now resisting with a grown-up messing with their body, right? Changing table, the kicking, etc. Yeah, when I'm working one-on-one and the parents start asking questions around that, it's a toilet readiness sign, okay? Um, Language readiness. You guys know two areas of language development: expressive, the language they're communicating, and that's also signing, and then receptive, the language that they are processing. We need them. It's very helpful if they understand basic potty vocabulary: underwear, toilet paper, soap, body parts, able to follow a two-step direction. And then family readiness. All right. Maybe you are going through a lot of stress at work. Maybe things at home with your partner are a little off right now. Maybe you're just about to leave to go on a vacation. So there's lots of lists out there. What I'm supposed to say is pause, maybe don't begin toilet teaching in earnest. If there's a baby due soon, you've recently moved, you're entering a new, well, your little one is entering a new childcare center or preschool, the child is experiencing a lot of anxiety, nightmares, the sleep schedule is off, or I always giggle when I say this, the child is in a particularly negative phase. Well, my gosh, that sometimes sounds like a lot of toddlers for me. Point being, each little one is unique. Let's look right now at the quiz that you received from Vivvi. You don't have to do it now. These quizzes are, I think, helpful also so you can look ahead to see what skills your little one should have. And we're going to recommend, if you got mostly A's, to wait. All right. That doesn't mean that you can drop off this webinar, guys. Hang tight. This information is going to be helpful. B's, time for pre-potty training. All right. And we're going to be talking a little bit about that. And then C's, all right, it's time. And this is a great time to begin.
Great. So what do we need? Like, let's say that we're ready. We've got mostly C's. Let's say we're ready.
Yeah.
What can we do to prepare? What can parents do to prepare?
I love it. Well, so on this slide, you can see, and I'm not getting any money from any company, so I'm not talking about necessarily the brand, although this healthy baby diapers and the wipes, gosh, anything that's environmentally friendly, I would put a little plug in for that. But types of potties. Let's say this, and Rachel, chime in. I don't know what you guys used with your kiddos, but I recommend having a freestanding potty chair. Keep it simple, no bells and whistles. Why? They get kind of gross, right? You don't want all those little crevices and everything. You want something that you can easily clean. The next thing that you might want to have is a toilet seat insert, all right? I like the idea of a travel potty, one that you can stick in your diaper bag or in your backpack. So when you're out and about, your little one can feel comfortable. We had one of the, I think we got it at Home Depot, one of these toilet seats that had its own insert. I don't know if they're still around.
Yes, I had those too. Invaluable.
Yeah, they're great. The most important thing that I'm going to mention today about what kind of equipment is important, it's the stool. I'm talking about a stool that your little person can rest their feet on, okay? My area of expertise is not in adults using the toilet, but supposedly it's equally important for us. So just saying, we want to make sure that our little one's legs, their feet, are not just hanging, dangling off of the toilet. Now, Rachel, I want to move to pull-ups, training pants,
Mm,
underwear. It can be a little overwhelming, right? And I've
yes.
already set this up. There isn't one way to go about this. What I do feel strongly about is some thought is put into this in advance, meaning let's set the little ones up for success so that they know, all right, during the day, you have a choice, literally, of a diaper, one of those healthy baby diapers, or a pull-up. All right. So I'm going to explain the process. They've washed their hands. Do you want to wear a diaper or do you want to wear a pull-up? Or maybe you're one of those families that got a C on the readiness quiz. Maybe what you're going to do is use those thick cotton underwear. There's so many brands now. Or a birthday suit, nothing at all. The point is be consistent about that. And we know that at night, you're going to continue doing what you have been doing. All right. One thing that I recommend, this is more mom speaking to you guys, hold off on those action, the Disney, the Thomas, the Fairy underwear, because they can be very motivating down the road. We know, as I said, 80% of our kids are going to have setbacks. Let's hold those motivating undies. Keep those in the top of the cupboard, if you will. Now, I think it might be helpful for everybody if I walk us through, no matter where you are on the journey, what a daytime routine could look like.
That's great. Absolutely.
What I would love, and I know that all of our homes are different here, it can be very helpful, if possible, to move all diaper changing, cleaning up, etc. into the bathroom. All right. Now, why am I recommending that? We go back to cognitive. All right. So this has something to do with my body. I'm getting wiped up right now. My daddy is cleaning up a poop. Here I am in the bathroom. We're going to start making connections. The other thing I'm going to recommend on this go slide is to really think about preventing constipation. So this is 30% of little ones. This is a lot about control. We don't want our little ones holding their poop in. So foods in high fiber. What are those? Whole wheat flour, oat bran, dates, mini wheats, apples with their skins, pears, prunes, what else? Raw vegetables, graham crackers, Cheerios, oatmeal, you name it. Foods in high fiber. I'm going to recommend that you stay away from leading questions. Oh my gosh, the times that I hear this. Do you need to use the potty? Do you need to go potty? You ask a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old if they need to use the potty or they want to use the potty. I mean, maybe depending on their temperament style, but most kids are going to be like, this is my work to play right now. I don't want to stop doing that, doing this to go visit the potty. So we're going to put our shoulders back, twinkle in our eye. It's potty time. Do you want to hop like a rabbit or fly like a dragon? I also love, Rachel, the power of toddler. I call them toddler choices. You can use them with teenagers. But the point is giving your child 2 choices that the grown-up is pleased with the outcome. And 2 choices. We got an A or B. Okay, it's potty time. Do you want to use the blue potty or the red one? Okay, it's time to pee. Do you want me to pull down your tights or do you want daddy to pull down your tights? And this is great for things like it's snack time. Do you want yogurt or a cheese stick? Because if you just say, what would you like? I don't know, at least my kids, it would be something like, oh, I'd like 4 cookies, please.
Yeah.
So this daytime routine, getting your little one out of the crib, out of that toddler bed, immediately we're going to the bathroom. Do you want to take your diaper off or do you want mommy to do it? Then we're going to have a choice. Do you want to sit on mommy's toilet or on the blue potty? The little one makes a choice. We're then going to wash our hands. We're then going to make a choice about what we're wearing, and we're going to rinse and repeat. We're going to do this about every 2 hours. Now, when I talk about the potty bell approach, I'm going to go into more detail, but that is the basic formula that you're going to be using, because now we know about how much their bladder can hold. We know that this consistent routine of visiting the potty at set times. Now, that nighttime routine, we're not going to mess with it. All right, so whatever you've been doing, stick with that plan. When you notice that your little one is waking up with a dry diaper, okay, or a dry pull-up more than 2 weeks in a row, well then, gosh, maybe you can try just wearing undies at night, but please be ready for some accidents. All right, what happens when you see and experience accidents? Deep breath, as I just did, right? Our kids are really looking at our body language, our tone of voice. We're going to respond with empathy. We're going to get down at their eye level, maybe even a hand on their body. Describe what happened. You went pee-pee. Next time when you get that feeling, let's go to the bathroom and clean up, okay? You can even invite them to help clean up that space. Now remember, that body cleanup is going to happen in that bathroom, but we are not going to force our little ones or, gosh, punish our little ones when they're having an accident. Now we're at that place of the potty bell approach. And this is approach, Rachel, that I strongly recommend for those families that on that quiz scored C. All right. We're going to need a ticking timer. All right. Same thing that I just described. We get up in the morning, we'll go into that bathroom, and we invite the child to sit, give them a choice of where they can sit. All right. You might even want to, and I'm going to be putting a lot of little tips and tricks in your toolbox now. You might even want to associate a song, with that time of sitting on the toilet. Yes, I'm going to sing for a moment. It's time to go hoopy. It's time to go hoopy. Hi-ho the dairy-o, it's time to go pee. You're going to repeat that maybe 3 times, all right? When that song is over, when that short period of time is over, we're going to get up. What? Yes, we're not going to wait until the child produces something. Why? Well, initially, this routine is about the routine, that the child is willing to follow this new routine of attempting to go potty, washing hands, and then making that big choice of wearing underpants or nothing at all, or the pull-up or the undies. All right, so that's really important. After that session, if you will, you're going to set that timer for about an hour and a half, and you are going to do this again. Yes, there might be an accident in between that time, but what happens, Rachel, over time is parents and educators get really good at seeing the behavior cues. So when they start to see the potty dance, they have that timer go off. Remember, you can have the timer go off whenever you want. The timer is the bad guy, not the grown-up. And we're going to go and use the potty. How does that sound to you, Rachel?
That sounds great. I love the idea of the timer being the bad guy and not the parent or the caregiver. You can't fight with the timer, right? You
Can't fight with the timer. It's the timer time. There are so many different timers out there. I particularly like making the investment in an education one.
Yes.
That has not only auditory, so the tick, 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 but also the light to let children know, because whoa, it is really hard to transition away from something that you're enjoying. So
Yep.
giving kids a little warning before potty time can be so helpful.
Absolutely. And
Then, go ahead.
what about, for the families that have already started potty training, but are still facing some challenges like refusal to poop? I know that a lot of children, they can't control a lot of things, but they can control poop and pee. Or, you talked about this like nighttime training. Can you talk about some of those other common challenges and what we should do, could do, or not do about them? And are there ever red flags in terms
Yes.
of potty training that might require some intervention?
Yes, great, great questions. One thing that I like to do, and I use my hands a lot when I'm supporting folks, is if you're getting this sensation, right? It's just you are feeling a power struggle coming on. There's nothing wrong with taking a break. The sensation that you want to have during this process is like this. We are working together. The child is motivated to want to learn this new routine and to go through the steps of the routine. I get it, being a parent of more than one child, depending on your child's temperament style, some kids need a little bit more of a gentle push, a little bit more scaffolding, if you will. But the bottom line is you're not really going to get anywhere if you are not listening to your child's behavior and resistance. So what I'd love to do, hold on tight, parents and educators. I am right now going to put a lot of tools in your tool chest, and then I just have a couple of minutes just to talk about those red flags that Rachel brought up, and then we can open it up to some personal questions. But parents often ask about rewards. Hey, Jennifer, what about M&Ms, stickers? Well, what I'm supposed to say is, right, hold off on those external rewards. Start with the power of praise. Unfortunately, our brains are designed to pick up on negative stimuli. So you literally have to practice as an educator, as a parent, to look for positive behaviors. So I want you to catch when your child is attempting to be independent or is willing to even just wash their hands, all right? We do know that 80%, I think it's more, of parents use external rewards. So there's nothing wrong with going down that road, but let's start with the power of praise. All right, because remember, we're praising the attempts to produce pee and poop. We're not praising that they're literally peeing and pooping initially. Okay, what about the classic potty? A sticker chart, love it. What about the treasure box? So you take some inexpensive things, you wrap them up with tissue paper, and you make it really easy for your child to get something out of that treasure box. So it's not 3 days of using the toilet. It's, hey, you picked whether you wanted to sit on the white toilet or the red one, and then we work up. I like the idea of a countdown calendar. So we're going to be beginning this process. Visuals are awesome. Think of the Vivvi classrooms. There's visuals all over the walls for a reason, right? I love the idea of having a modeling session with your little one. And having pictures of your little one acting out each part of the routine. I love the idea of dropping in some Cheerios in the potty, seeing if they sink or float. I love the idea of, I sang my little ditty, but maybe you have a song on your smartphone that you play when it's potty time. Maybe you blow bubbles. My gosh, there are hundreds of potty books. So through play and looking at those picture books together, you can practice potty. And again, please make sure you focus on positive behaviors. So challenging behaviors around toilet training, poop is a big one. So in terms of that, real quickly, what I recommend doing is breaking this process down into baby steps. So first, poop in your poop in your diaper, and then we're going to move that child day by day, week by week, depending on your kid, closer and closer to the bathroom. We get into the bathroom, we're on top of that toilet, still with a diaper on, but guess what? You're going to cut a flap in that diaper before you put that diaper on the child. So the child feels that diaper or that pull up, but the poop goes into the potty. Another wonderful thing to do is, I wouldn't do this with a grown-up toilet, but with a potty, you can put a diaper in the bottom and the little one can, like a pillow, poop right on top of that pull-up. Fear of flushing, I had one of those. It is really common. They're going to go off to college knowing how to flush a toilet. We don't need to flush when they're in the room. Or better yet, go to Home Depot or your local plumber store and play with toilets. Let them learn and go through the experience of flushing in a sort of safe place. Potting away from home, definitely want to have your own potty seat. There's so many out there on the market, but also we want to give our children some grace. I know a lot of grown-ups out there that aren't willing to go potty away from home. And then public bathrooms, if you haven't yet begun in earnest using the potty, this is a great time to start visiting bathrooms. Just to go to your public library, go to restaurants, and start visiting public bathrooms. So those are some of the biggest challenges, Rachel, that I hear about.
Yep.
And before we open up for some questions here, let's leave this slide up for a moment. These are the times that we're going to ask parents and educators to press the pause button. All right. And one of the things I want to jump right to the end of the list, it's also about us. If you feel like you are getting excessively angry during this process, take a break. It doesn't mean that you're starting back at step one again. Take a break, maybe make one of those fun countdown calendars and come back. But please look through these red flags, if you will, and make sure that you partner with your pediatrician around these red flags. Okay, that's my spiel.
That was so helpful and so much really valuable information. And we have some questions in the chat and also some questions that came in before our webinar started. One of the questions is from one of our Vivvi educators. And I just love that our educators care so much that they join these sessions with us. What kind of support can you give for either a teacher in a classroom
Mm.
or a parent at home who might be teaching or working with a group of 4-year-olds or their own 4-year-old at home that are consistently having BM accidents.
Okay.
So how do you work with educators, families, and how to navigate that kind of situation?
So, Rachel, when I'll take some time to answer that. I think it would be also helpful for the participants to know what happens at Vivvi around toilet training. But in this situation, the key thing that you said was a 4-year-old. Okay, if this child is really having a lot of frequent accidents, I would like to have the pediatrician involved. In the perfect world, we would have consistency between the home and the school. Some kids, depending on the temperament style of regularity, one of the temperament traits, some kids really benefit from a very similar routine from home and school. Some kids, easy peasy, they can do something different in place A and in place B. But as I said during the session today, you can't force a little one to go poop. They have to feel like they're part of the solution. So my recommendation would be to schedule a virtual or in-person session with the parents to come up with a plan and then get those visuals going. Their own, perhaps the educators know about this, a social story, which is, for folks that don't know, these can be so helpful where there's literally little pictures. They can be pictures off of the web or pictures of your own child acting out each step. You can use a hole puncher, put a ring around it, and the little one can follow through with the steps that are included in that social story. But I want to go back to what I initially said. This is something I would want to include a pediatrician around.
Yeah, and I think what you mentioned about connecting with families, that's what we believe as at Vivvi is really partnering with families to make sure that the experience both at home and school, is supportive of whatever is happening for a child. And I think that also goes to families who might have a nanny or other caregiver, or maybe there's two parents in the household and both are doing different things. And Jennifer, you mentioned, right, like the importance of following a consistent routine, right? Whether a child goes to daycare, whether a child has someone else kind of in their lives taking care of them, really to get on the same page with families.
100%.
Yeah, it's invaluable. Awesome, thank you. And here to support any Vivvi educators with anything that might be going on. So reach out. A question came in about privacy. Their child needs privacy and will only poop at home in a closet. Hold it all day, even at school, and wait to do it at home. Any advice? And obviously more fibrous foods, but anything else?
Yeah. So I know with my mom hat on, it's always like, phew, wait, there's other parents going through this. So for this parent, I just want to let you know this is really common initially. Put yourself in that child's shoes. They have their whole life up to whatever age they are. They've been pooping in this diaper and they know what that feels like. Maybe they lie down, maybe they crouch down. Little ones have their little quirks about the way that they go number two. So what I would recommend is, all right, so right now this little one is comfortable being in the closet. Makes sense to me. We're going to now ask the child, and it might take a few weeks, to move, maybe it's an inch, maybe it's a foot, closer to the bathroom. Okay? Do you want to sit here or do you want to sit here? Right? And what's going to happen over time is the little one is going to realize, oh, wait a minute. I don't need to be in the closet. I can now be in the door frame. All right. And then over time, also, I love the idea of those connected moments when both grown-ups and little ones are in their upstairs brains, right? They can really process, they're not under stress. So it's not during a pooping moment, it's during a moment of play, it's during a moment of looking at books snuggled up, where we act out pooping on the potty. That can be really, really helpful. Also, you want to get to know, Rachel, did something happen? Did that little one poop at one point and water splash up? Was there a time that this little person was constipated and it really hurt to go poop? We do want that information too, and to make sure that we can reassure and set our little ones up for success around down the road pooping on the potty.
Great, thank you. We are so close to time right now. So I just want to thank Jen for joining us and remind all of you that we'll be emailing you the recording along with the link to the potty training readiness quiz if you didn't receive that, and a discount from our friends at Healthy Baby by tomorrow. Thank you so much, everybody. We know how hard it is to take time out of your day, and we appreciate you joining us. And as always, we're here. If you have any questions, please reach out.
But it was great to be here, and I look forward to supporting the educators and the parents down the road.
Thank you so much, Jen. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye-bye.